We want to stay on this story. For reaction, our Chase team has reached Major Donna Riguidel in Ottawa. She was the founder of the Western Canadian branch of Operation Honour, and Operation Honour is the Canadian Armed Forces mission, as Ashley mentioned, to prevent and address sexual misconduct within its ranks. Major Riguidel is also a survivor of sexual misconduct herself and a part of Survivor Perspectives Consulting Group. It's made up of active and veteran members of the Canadian Armed Forces, and it's a pleasure to have you on the program. I'm glad you're here. I'm wondering if this topic makes you nervous to talk about even now.
Well, I mean, it's never an easy topic to talk about, and it seems to be one that we're pressed to talk about a lot, especially recently.
Shouldn't we be, though, as women? Talk about it.
Absolutely.
Talk about it loudly. Talk about it often. Yell it from the rooftops. This is wrong. This is inappropriate.
Absolutely. And we should be talking. It's just exhausting that we just seem to be not gaining any ground, despite all of our cries, despite, I used to call it screaming into the void, despite continuously telling people that there's a problem. It just seemed for a long time that a lot of doors were kind of shut in our faces.
Mm-hmm. If members of the military were screaming into the void, as you put it, why is the military a void?
I think that it's taken the chain of command a long time to realize what this problem means and how to best support those that are victimized by it. There was a bit of a pendulum swing that, anybody who was victimized by it or perceived as a victim automatically was seen as, somebody who was maybe fragile or needed protection. When we don't, we are strong and capable. We've just been injured in a very specific way, and we need understanding and support so that we can get back on track and continue to pursue whatever our dreams might be.
You know what, though, as a civilian, I think of the military as made up of very strong people, people who want to serve their country, people who fight injustice. And maybe that's the strongest thing I think of in the military. So why not fight injustice within our own ranks?
Personally, what I've seen is a lot of spinning of tires. I've seen a lot of policies and half measures come down that are not particularly effective. There's been, again, a lot of trust broken now with, the current things that have come to light and that sort of thing. And I agree with Lieutenant Colonel Taylor to a point that Operation Honour has become stigmatized by this, and the trust is broken. I don't necessarily, though, want to spend time quibbling about a name at this point. I want to get going. I want to fix this. We have some solutions and some answers in place. We've now grouped together. We have several survivors. We're looking for more if they want to lend their voices to this, but we really want to be used as consultants and advisors to help guide this mission and get it back on track and really tackle this problem in a way that makes sense and in a way that will work in this coordinated effort.
I hear you when you say talking about a name might actually deflect from the real issue here. When you did hear that Colonel Taylor had decided to resign, and she had retired, she was in the reserves, and then she decided to officially, resign from the military, what went through your head? And not only retire, but retire with some scathing words, that she was disgusted, that she's not surprised, that there's an insidious and inappropriate use of power for sexual exploitation. That is not your, run-of-the-mill resignation letter.
Not at all. And I actually spoke at length with her. We had a mutual friend connect us because they felt that we probably had a lot to talk about and a lot in common. And we did. The conversation went on for quite a while. And I'm hoping that she actually comes with us on this journey and acts as an advisor after some time and space. I will say flat out, we are angry. We're angry with being ignored. We're angry this problem is still happening. We're angry that despite all of these words of people, saying they're taking it seriously, they just seem to be continually shooting themselves in the foot. Or as I say, they can't seem to get out of their own way. And it's very frustrating. And there's so much anger and bitterness. But along with that, we still have hope. We still have so much hope that we can make this work. They just need to talk to us. We are the unfortunate subject matter experts in military sexual trauma. It's tragic that these things happen to us, but give us, now that some of us have had the chance to heal and recover, empower us with the ability to now go back and make the changes for those that follow. I don't want to leave people behind in uniform still suffering. I think the Canadian Armed Forces is a fantastic organization, but we have a real problem. And the people that are serving in it should not be worried about this particular issue. These women and men again, that have been victimized, imagine the strength that it takes for them to continue on doing the job at hand, still working and living and breathing in this environment that still hasn't been, brought to the
Yeah.
standard that it should be. It's incredible the amount of strength and power these people have. So let's use it. Let's focus it and make a coordinated effort to fix it.
I don't want to put a pin into that whole thing because I believe what you're saying, but does it dash hopes when two of the country's most senior military leaders are under investigation over separate allegations of sexual misconduct? I mean, names that are right up there that people who are entering as ordinary seamen or as privates, maybe they aspire to be.
It is exhausting. It is frustrating. It went a long way towards destroying a lot of trust and a lot of good faith that we had. Myself, I was telling so many survivors, solutions are coming. This is a genuine effort.
Yeah.
And to watch it just kind of fall apart is heartbreaking. But at the same time, you know what, like anything, let's regroup, let's do this better and differently. And that's what this is about. Like, obviously the efforts to now have failed. When I used to, knock on doors and offer solutions, the response from the chain of command back was, it's okay, we got this. Well, no, you don't. You clearly don't have this. So why don't you give us a chance to consult with you so that we can point out where the gaps are, because we lived it. We went through it. We saw it. We experienced it. We know exactly how to fix these issues and where the problems are. This is the difference. Consult with people that have been through it, because again, we're the experts. We're the ones that have lived it.
How have you come out of that situation, Major? Or would you say you're stronger? Would you say you're more determined? Would you say you don't take crap anymore?
I definitely don't take crap anymore. I'm a lot more focused in what I want to do. I have a vested personal interest in this. I had somebody ask me the other day, why is this so important to you? Why can't you just, you have a daughter, just make sure things are better for her? And my response was, that's not good enough. It has to be better for your daughter and for their son and for everybody that wants to serve their country in uniform. That should be the focus. It shouldn't be a matter of, am I worried about this person that I'm supposed to have my back doing something to me? It should be, you know what? I trust you, you put your life in my hands, I put my life in yours, and let's do the job at hand. And that should be the main focus.
I want to end with with this line that comes from Lieutenant Colonel Taylor's resignation letter. She says, I have been both a victim of and participant in this damaging cycle of silence, and I am proud of neither. To use the word cycle, to know that there is silence, to know that one can be a victim and a participant at the same time, how does that mesh? Where do you find the hope in that, Major? And again, I am the last person to put anyone down for having hope, but I want to understand where it's coming from.
I find hope. I took a lot of training and a lot of that, and I took it civilian side, I'll be honest. I took it outside of the military. I took a lot of training on understanding the cycles of toxic environments and on the cycle of sexual misconduct. And a lot of that was introspection on where I may have inadvertently contributed to the environment. As victims, of course, we are not at fault for being victimized. Mm-hmm. That's solely on the perpetrator. But at the same time, I've lost count of how many times, that we might have said to each other, just put your head down and get your job done. Or there's been an attitude of, you're a professional. At the end of the day, be a professional. Or, it happened to me and I put up with it. Okay, but you don't have to, and you shouldn't have to. And we can do better, and we need to do better. So let's get it done. Let's use the strong people out there, the men and women, together fighting this problem, because it's a human problem. It's not a women's problem. It's not a men's problem. It's not even a military problem. It's a human problem. So let's make us stronger and better.
I want to thank you for the time, and I will tell you, I wish you every great thing out of your initiative.
Thank you.
That's Major Donna Riguidel. She is part of Survivor Perspective Consulting Group, and our chase team reached her in Ottawa.